Good evening. I'd like to call the City Council meeting on October 26, 2021 to order. We're here at the City Council Chambers in Olivet at 1140 Dealman Road. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Carl.
Here.
Councilmember Waldman. Here. Chairman Weil.
Here,
Mayor.
absent with excuse.
Okay.
Communications, please.
Chairman, we had an email sent by Jeff Springer to Barb. Barb, I want to take this opportunity to recognize all the department heads and the entire city staff for all the hard work and support they have given to me as the Olivet Turkey Trot went from an idea to an annual event. The police who volunteer on Thanksgiving Day, the fire department, public works, the park staff planning for their mapping skills, and of course, your staff who do such an amazing job dealing with the participants during packet pickup. The residents have embraced this event along with their families, friends, and neighbors from the surrounding communities, helping to create a stronger community and bring the much deserved recognition and awareness to Olivet. Lastly, it would not have happened if you had not kind of sort of said yes, thinking sure, why not? He probably won't get a sponsor. Thanks, Jeff Springer.
Thank you. City managers report, please.
Good evening. Let me just share my screen. We will. Report. Okay. All right. Well, as we know, at our last meeting on October 12th, Councilmember Ruth Springer resigned her position with the council as she's moving to be closer to her grandchildren who happen to live by her children as well. So they're now in New York City in their apartment. And the council now has the task of filling the vacancy. The council made the decision that they would seek applications. Those applications are due, they're available on the website. They're due by 5 p.m. on November 10th. If anyone has any questions on how to get to the application or want something mailed or want to just come in and fill one out, they can just call me, Barb Sundag. And the council now is scheduled to do interviews at 7 p.m. on November 16th. Per the charter, the remaining members of the council appoint to fill the vacancy, and their appointment lasts until the next regular election. And for us, that would be April of 2022. As a note, kind of a side note to this, because the deadlines are going to be close to each other, state legislation this year moved filing up by 1 to 2 weeks, I believe 2 weeks. And so Olivet, we do our filing prior to our close date is 2 weeks before the close date of the county, because we require petitions and signatures. So that gives people a chance if they miss a signature to get it back, to collect the signatures again. But anyway, that actual filing date kind of starts not long after that November 16th date. I think what is it? The 23rd. So it's a little bit, it seems like it's really close, and it is because it's about 2 weeks early. But these are two separate processes. And I think part of the communication we're going to go out to citizens is that, we're advertising for this vacant position that will go from whenever the council makes the appointment until the election results are in, actually until the election is certified. So it'll be a couple of weeks after the election. But then we also have the normal process for filing for the April election. So we'll be getting more word out on that, but we're really trying to separate those because it is a little confusing because they're so close.
Madam Mayor Pro Tem, may I ask a question? Does this mean that the initial filing date where the city advertises the April election and picking up a packet will begin on November 23rd?
Yes.
Okay.
Work around the city, lots of stuff going on, lots of ground being moved, lots of holes. And Missouri American Water is doing just really a ton of work. They're really moving along now. You can see in their phase one of Alice, Olivet Drive South, and Margaret, they have all the mains are installed. 80% of the services have been transferred, which means they're using those new mains. And they are doing the trench restoration. Retirement of the old mains, October 28th to November 2nd. That means when they're actually going to be, everything will be transitioned over. Phase two, Edwards, Olivet Drive North, and Comanche Drive. All the new mains have been installed and tested. They're going to begin the service transfers over, and they still have, I believe it's Comanche Street, or there's two Comanches. One's Comanche Drive and the other that's not done. That's being worked on as well, but it's not done. And I apologize, I can't remember if it was Street Road, but they're moving right along, and they will be done before, and get the paving done before the hopefully before we get any snow or any winter weather. Public Works completed a kind of a pavement restoration project, and they used a 5R reinforced asphalt. One of the things, and we will have to ask Bruce McGregor exactly what that is. But one of the things that Public Works Director Bruce McGregor does is he tries a lot of different techniques for paving, for doing some of these restoration projects, for crack seals, to really try to figure out what holds the best, what's the most cost effective. And this is kind of another example of that, where he does some of these projects. And it really is interesting now with asphalt, the science and what they've done, and how you can reuse asphalt to make new asphalt, the other things that you can put in asphalt to make it last longer. So it is, I think it's a benefit to the city that he's willing to try some of these things. And while we didn't have yet to receive our fire truck, Bruce has been very proud. He's gone over to the fire department a couple of times to say that he has received his new truck, his 2021 F-350. It was ordered in August. He was not expecting this truck for a while, and it showed up. So it's clearly who you know. And but he's getting a lot of mileage out of that. The Parks Department, I reported at the last meeting that the city, Stacy Park was awarded the Urban Night Sky Place by the International Dark Sky Association. And what they're doing now is they're going to start holding different astronomy events. And so amateur professionals are going to have access to Stacy Park at night. Some events may be co-sponsored or sponsored by the city. Some may be just private events, but obviously held on the public land, so they are open to the public. And they're doing the first one on November 6th. Stacy's Starry Nights is the program. And this one is through the, as you can see, the St. Louis Astronomical Society, and they have more of these planned. And if you look at the park report that is in the packet, they have the other list of other events, stargazing events. The two new trails are open in Stacy Park in the northeast or northwest corner, I'm sorry. And I encourage just everyone to go and check these out if you have not been. They are phenomenal. You do not know that you're in the city. They use part of the trail at Boo Bash for their not scary, not so scary, or spooky, not so spooky trail. It was really amazing. It was really great. And kudos to Ed Kastner. You're not going to believe that one person with some help along the way, did all this trailblazing. Clearly a pioneer in his former lives. And so, but I really encourage people to go and see those new trails. These are Olivet Parks and Recreation, with pandemic hit them hardest of anybody with regard to being able to have events and sports and all types of things. So they're really back up now and running. And these are just some of the events that they're having. They have their Weed Warrior kickoff on November 13th. And that's a group that just continues to grow and to do more work, ridding the parks of invasives. And also you'll see that we're going to have our groundbreaking. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. That's going to be November 13th as well. That's a Saturday at 1 p.m. It'll be up kind of where the old rinks was on Morrison Park, where the new community center is going to be. And hoping to have, we'll be getting those invitations out, as well as letting people know, we'll have light refreshments, few speeches, and but really excited about that event. And then they have their next kids night out is back. I'm assuming that after 18 months of a pandemic, that should be full pretty quickly. And so if you want to drop your kids off and have a night out, go ahead and register for that. And then they have their holiday light hop date as well. So again, all of those things are in the park report. And so you can go through and look at that. The planning and building department are just extremely busy these days with the work that's going around. We talked about a lot of the projects last week, or when you had your prior meeting. One of the ones we haven't really talked about yet, but is really a huge project in the city, is Old Bonham Elementary School addition. Carlos has put together, our planning and the community development director, Carlos Trejo, put together some of these photos of the work that's happening over there. Again, if you haven't been on Old Bonham by the school, it's pretty interesting the way they're working on that project, and the approved exterior design for folks to see. Again, these are all available on the Olivet website if you want to look at that. They're also, the school is obviously also on the Ladue school website, the school district. And the other pictures, the pictures on the right and at the bottom, those are of most recent work at Olive Crossing. And the pictures on the right are the soldier piles, and that's the kind of the start of a retaining wall there. And it looks very nice. Our building inspector, Dave Fairgrave, has been out there a number of times and has really been impressed with the quality of work in that part. And we know that's important. That's been important to the citizens. And so we've been out there a number of times looking at that. Again, talk about departments kind of getting back in some of the other programs that they've not been able to offer because of the pandemic. The fire department is back offering CPR, first aid, and AED trainings. This is a picture of them at Miriam Academy. They've done Miriam Academy, they've done the Lutheran School, and they've done Logos School as well. So they've been busy training all the people, and as well as doing their own training. And I kind of put this picture in here. It's in their report again, which is available online. But I like this because it shows, we forget, again, one of the important things when we were building this building was the fire, was the tower, so they could do different training and such. And this is an example of them using that tower for training. Boo Bash Harvest Festival was last Thursday. I had to get rescheduled from Friday, the prior Friday to last Thursday. We're really concerned that we weren't going to see a lot of people. Boy, they came out. The mayor was out, council member Waldman was there. And we had a really nice group. This picture doesn't show it, but it's a lovely picture of the area. But we had a lot of folks out, and I think everybody had a good time. Fire department was in charge of s'mores, again, with the fire pits. Police department was out meeting with families and kids. And there were a lot of activities that were happening. And then a couple people showed up in their, or one person showed up in her bathrobe handing out candy. Don't know who that was, Councilman Waldman, but but I think everyone had a good time. This is a police department. One of the things, the Wrap Back program. This is kind of interesting because the fact that we actually haven't had this before. We would have to fingerprint our officers periodically just to do a background check on them because there was no system in place that notified us if they had been arrested or if they had been fingerprinted somewhere else. Well, we have that now. And that's really important because you could even say, I'm going to fingerprint somebody every year, every couple of years. And well, the next day it's old news, right? And so I think this is really good and important for all of us, for the department, for the residents. We're hoping that this will also kind of move also we fingerprint our coaches for our youth sports, and hoping that they'll be able to do some of this program will work for them as well. Because again, it's an inconvenience for them to have to come in during hours and get fingerprinted. If we have a system in place, we wouldn't have to do it, each year. It'd be a little bit easier for everybody, for the volunteers as well. We are in a hiring process in the police department for a police officer. Denise Mandel, our human resources manager, is here, has been working with Chief Wolf as they've gone through the process. They had the written test today, and the next steps for the folks who move forward will be an interview. And this is kind of, again, an interview with a panel, including Olivet officers, residents, and business owners. So that's just the process and kind of where we're at on that. Turkey trot, turkey trot, turkey trot. This past weekend, we were getting a little bit concerned about people registering. And this past weekend, everybody woke up. We had over 300 or 400 people register this weekend. It was great. Really, really good event. We have more people starting to really come in now. I think everybody's kind of solidifying some of those holiday plans and where they're going to be. You register online. Again, we have a lot of options. If you don't want to come in person, you can do it virtually. You'll still get the same price. You still get the t-shirt. T-shirts are super nice this year. And so we really hope to see people registering and coming out. And again, this is an event that benefits the Harvey Kornblum Food Pantry. And what's that? Yeah. Yep. Oh yeah, the price has gone up a little bit. Yep. I have to update my slide. Upcoming meetings. We have the Zoning Board of Adjustment, October 28th, the City Council Work Session, November 2nd, Pension Board, November 4th, Planning, that's at a different time, 5:30 p.m. Planning and Community Design Commission, November 4th at 7 p.m. Next regular City Council meeting is November 9th at 7 p.m. Planning and Community Design Commission is November 18th at 7 p.m. And we will want to ask the council, typically you have a meeting that the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. Oftentimes you have had it in the past, more often than not, you don't have it. And I don't know if you want to make that decision tonight or if you want to just make it on the 2nd or on the 9th.
I believe that we made the decision to do it on the 16th following the 7 o'clock interview.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay. So never mind then. Good job. Yeah. Yep. Yep. I guess we all need one. And that's all I have. Happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Are there any questions?
I don't have a question, but I have a question. You know, in the past, the council's been given a CPR class, and I will admit that when you don't use it, you lose it. And, you know, seeing that they are out there doing that, previous council members have felt that, these things and certain things that we should be doing. We should be doing for importance of safety, riding along with the police, whatever. I'd like to know whether we can have a CPR class.
If you'd like one, sure.
But
Is that something you
I'm
want-
only one.
Yeah, let's pick a date at another meeting.
Yeah,
Does that interest you?
I mean, yeah. I'm
Let
not-
me talk with the fire department and get some options,
Sure.
some date options.
Let's make it after the 16th, so we
Oh,
can include our new.
Any,
council member.
right, anytime, whatever. I'm just saying, can this get back on the table for a
Mhm.
future opportunity?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay,
I didn't even know that you'd done that before, but that makes sense and it's perfect. We could also offer it to other commissioners if we wanted to. Yeah.
yeah, right. Whatever is good, but I'm remiss and I need refreshing. So thank you.
Next item, please.
Item number 4 is city council reports.
Councilmember Carl, do you have any reports?
I have nothing to report tonight. Thank you.
Councilmember Waldman?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I attended the Planning and Community Design Commission meeting of October 21st. At that meeting, they held the election of the officers for this year's commission. Chair will be Rob Jurgel, Vice Chair will be Carol Wagoner, and the Secretary will be Jody Rich. There was new business of approvals of 734 Villa Capri Court, 3 Lynn Court, 90 Stony Side Lane. And there was a failure of an approval for 9721 Hastings Drive, and I know that the board wanted to have some additional kind of conversation and include the attorney on some legal information and conversation. Not just with that, but more with the fact that we have new folks on there and there are some questions that they are having that are being of legal mind. So I do hope Mr. Martin, you and Mr. Trejo have had a conversation where we'll begin to have one about a date where you will attend PCDC. whether-
Yes, we talked about it today and we're going to set that up.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Thank you so much. 23 St. Alfred was approved under old business. We discussed site coverage for pools, accessory structures and lot sizes. Site coverage and the floor area ratio used in all of that. We are the most restrictive than any other municipality. And with some of these smaller lots and folks wanting to put some pools in their yard, there is the belief that there should be additional conversation about those differences. And Mr. Trejo will advise the board accordingly. Thank you all. That is my report for that meeting.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Item number 5 is the monthly financial report, September 2021.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We have in front of us today sorry, there is no mayor here today, but pro tem and council. We have in front of us our 3 months, so our first quarter financial report, and I don't have really any updates from anything that we've talked about in the past. Sales tax do continue to do well. Revenues overall in the general fund are up 146,000 above where we thought, and then expenditures below by 80,000. And so we have a good favorable balance of $226,000. If we look there at our at the dashboard, again, 25% of our year has passed, and we can see we're headed a little bit in a couple places, but because the sales taxes did have done a little bit better than we had thought, but nothing out of line there. Moving on to that next table, we see the reserve policy. analysis, and it's well in compliance. Just a little color on some of our major revenue types. Sales tax, like I said, remain really good, real strong. And this is the first time in a while I haven't shown us the chart for the chart of the month, but we'll see it probably next month. Property tax is still at 0. We'll expect to begin collection of those here in the next couple months. Utility taxes have started really good on some warmer weather in the electric, most notably in the electric category or that account. And we're going to look at that here in a second in that chart. I will say though, our remainder categories, which is some of the other ones we talk about a lot more, but the most notably our soccer, our community center rental, and those are exceeding our expectations by about 50%, which is really, really great news for the program, for everybody that's participating, and of course for our financial statements. So look forward for that to continue. Expenditures right as we'd expect. So let's look at our chart in the next page, and that has our electric gross receipts, and this represents 10% gross receipts utility tax on all of the billings in the city of Olivet. It's a pretty boring chart. You can see it's pretty predictable. The bright green line that we're looking at that has the 3 or 4 dots there, I did chart in the October one, and then it stops. That's what we're looking at this month. And it looks like it would be down, and it is. If we were to look at that chart for that electric utilities, we can see it kind of trend down over time. But the 2 below it are, which is it is kind of hard to see, but it's the ones that are down below there. They're blue and they're orange on the screen that we see there. And then the bright green is above it. Those are the last 2 years. And then the green is where we are this year. So that's providing a lot of that. Now, there's a lot to rate setting for electric rates. And so I went back and pulled a 2014 or 15 electric bill. And what it is the rates today on not wholesale, I shouldn't say that, on electric, commercial electric rates. And so what we pay here and we pay the other places is actually lower than it was in 2014. And those have a lot to do. There's a lot that goes into that. And if you're curious, there's a rabbit hole of the Public Service Commission of all the rate cases and stuff. But that is what we've seen over the last several years. It most has to do with commodity prices. The charges that it costs to make electricity, the inputs, are cheaper today than they were during most of this time period. And that's one of the reasons we see it below, but it is doing good. So there's your chart of the month. None of the other funds have much activity in them, other than I will say, if we were to go, we're going to go pretty far back into number page 10. Page 10 has the grants fund in it, and we can see the reporting of the receipt of the first half of the ARPA funds, and it's right there it's the bottom table there, second column from the right. $793,000 is sitting in there, and we don't have any budget authority to spend any of that yet, and so that's what we've been talking about in our what do you call the meetings before this one? Work session. That's what they are, work session. So we'll continue those discussions, but we do have showing receipt of that money right there, and that's where it'll sit. We'll see a budget amendments coming in there to spend it too. That's all that I have for the monthly financial report. Unless we have any questions, I'd be more than happy to.
Are there any questions? Councilmember Waldman?
Darren, sir, if our sales tax are up, why is the capital improvement revenue at 16%? Or maybe that,
Very good question.
Yeah.
It's page 6 that we on there, and page 6 shows just a flat, it's sales tax. What you don't see in there is another category, which is our property tax, which is the road and bridge money from the county. We don't expect to receive any of it, and so the report kicks it off. We don't expect to receive any money from there until November, December, January, when the property taxes begin to be collected. there was the state tax commission had a big charge back, or they resolved a case which resulted in a large chargeback to us. Usually we receive money and it'll show up with zero budget, but that's why it's only 16%.
Thank you.
Good question.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Mann.
Mhm.
Next item, please.
Item number 6 is the quarterly investment report for September 2021.
So now we have, we'll look at our first quarter, or it's the third quarter, but our first quarter of our fiscal year, and there's nothing to report. There's no maturities, we didn't have any purchases, but I would like to present in that the page from here, we can take a look at last week's yield curve. I think it probably has changed a little bit. The red line there in the beginning, or at the bottom, is at 0.15%. It doesn't really look, it's at 0.15%. And at 0.15% is what we get on our idle rate, just completely liquid at ICS. And that's the insured cash sweep, if I remember from last month. Now this, and then the orange lines, all that are jagging around there, are what a CD rate are at this. Again, when I prepared this last Friday morning, and there's you can see there, it doesn't make much sense, but it's real close at the 12-month, which is a 1 year, is what we've always done in the past in our ladder. You can see that the lines meet up. Usually we would not invest at that point because why tie your money up when you can get the same rate for not doing anything? But we do see a little spike there at that 24 or 2-year mark. And I would go with the recommendation that we do invest a $250,000 piece of this at that 2-year mark to get the 0.45. It's a good spike in the rates. The logarithmic curve there underneath is where that curve naturally kind of goes. And this goes out to 5 years. We're allowed to go to 5 years based on our investment policy. We have never went out that far, but we certainly can. We can get around looks like 0.85, I think is what the rate is. What we do is look in this and look for spikes that are kind of out of range, and that's what we see at that 2-year mark. So that would be my recommendation. And that's the part that's there. I don't have any strong opinion one way or the other on what this does. This would be in the general fund, not with our bond funds. We'd probably keep those at this point, because I think we'll probably need the lion's share of this money within the next 18 months, which is right aware those rates are 0.15. Either way, open for discussion. I'm not strongly feeling it either way, but that would be what I would go with based on what we're seeing.
Are you asking for, if I could, are you asking for discussion now, right now?
It's we can if we do have a fairly large agenda, I can email something out and everybody can ask and offer thoughts. If that's what we'd like to do.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Sure. So if I'm understanding, you want to invest 250,000 of our general revenue fund for 2 years or 5 years?
It'd be 2 years, a 24-month at 0.45.
Okay, 2
Yep.
years. Okay, and at the end, you're talking about 0.6 something rate
Right.
of investment. I hear what you're saying. Amazingly kind of understanding things as I educate myself a little bit more, and I hear you and I support that.
Go for it.
So I'll reach I hear consensus at least. So-
Okay, I can't just.
Yep.
Sounds, we are all on board, so I would.
Good,
say we
okay.
move Forward.
I'll move forward. And if it, for some reason, the rates, I think they may have dropped a little bit
And
early this week.
and how
I'll
are
check
you going to
back.
put this in a CD, in a insured cash sweep? What?
It'll be in a CD.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yep, and we'll look back in 3 months, we'll be talking about it and we'll show it on our chart. It would be just for one time. If
In a whole
we revisit this next month, I'll
In a
probably
whole new
email something.
color.
We sure can. Which color would you like?
Purple.
Okay.
All right.
Missy wants green.
I like purple. I like green.
Good, that's all that I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next item.
Item number 7 is hearing from citizens.
Is there anyone online that would like to comment? If you would, you could just use the raise hand button.
Doesn't look like it.
Okay, next item, please.
Item number 8 is Bill number 2961, Resolution number 2021-215, a resolution authorizing the offering for sale of general obligation refunding and improvement bonds of the city of Olivet, Missouri.
That will be me. Basically, you have two main items on your agenda tonight. The first is this resolution. And what this resolution does is it's giving authority to basically offer for sale general obligation refunding and improvement bonds, okay? And that's just the refunding that we've talked about. It'd be approximately 8.9 million. And so we've talked about this a number of times. We did get our Moody's rating, and we are a AA2, which is what we were. And really, it will be difficult for a city our size to get any better than that. And but the reviewer was extremely complimentary of the city's finances and the security of our finances. So what this resolution does is, as I said, is just authorizes the offering the sale of the GO refunding and improvement bonds. The ordinance that will come up to next is actually the first reading for that, for when the first reading after we have actually done the public sale. And so that's kind of the second part. So this is why the resolution is first.
Would anyone like to make a motion?
Madam Chairman Pro Tem, I make a motion to approve resolution 2021-215, a resolution authorizing the offering for sale of general obligation funding and improvement bonds of the city of Olivet, Missouri.
I will second that.
Is there any discussion?
I would just like to remind the council that conservative, by doing this refunding now, conservatively, we do think over the course of this refunded bond, will save anywhere between $800,000 and $1 million.
Excellent.
I just have that follow-up question that I asked over the weekend. And I don't know if you want to go ahead and address that after we go to the next item.
We need to vote.
We call for the vote, please.
Councilmember Carl,
Yes.
Councilmember Waldman.
Yes.
Chairman Weil,
Yes.
motion passed.
Next item, please.
Item number 9 is Bill number 2962, an ordinance authorizing and directing the issuance, sale, and delivery of general obligation refunding and improvement bonds, Series 2021 of the city of Olivet, Missouri, prescribing the form and details of said bonds, providing for the levy and collection of an annual tax for the purpose of paying the principal of and interest on said bonds as they become due, and authorizing certain other documents and actions in connection therewith. First reading.
As I said, this is the first reading of the bill that actually authorizes and directs the issuance and the sale. It's a little bit funny because there's a number of blanks in this document. And that is because we haven't done the sale yet. That will happen the morning of November 9th at 10 a.m. And when you, that point, we'll have Joy Howard, our financial advisor, Shannon Creighton, our bond attorney, who will fill in the blanks on these documents. And then we'll have the final, and that will be you'll be under this ordinance, you'll be providing the authorization to actually do the sale. This is a good way of doing it in that you get an opportunity to look at those documents before that actual date of the sale. So if you see anything, it's a good time to bring that up. Councilmember Waldman did ask a question. And I am going to have trouble. Do you remember the
It
page?
might have been closer to the beginning.
Yeah, I
Barb.
think it was.
That's the beginning of the document. It was talking about lots, but I just didn't understand what that meant.
Yeah, it was, Sorry. Sharon?
Truly go to the very,
Two-
as close to the beginning of the document, not the end.
I'm sorry, I'm hearing
That's where
different.
I remember.
I could-
That's-
I can
yeah,
download it and it'll
yeah,
be.
yeah, an answer there.
Okay. She had a question on one of the definitions of if there's essentially a, like, layman's terms, a tie.
There was a
Um,
word that was locked, LOT, in the description
And
Oh,
here
there
we
you
go.
go. Right there.
No, I think it's the next one.
That's it, right there.
Under
Under
redemption.
redemption.
First paragraph.
Yeah, I see it. I don't think this is that.
You don't think that was the one? Okay.
No. Because it wasn't about the redemption. It was about the calculations. Yeah.
That's okay. It was
I
at the
apologize.
beginning, is what I do remember, the very beginning of the document. I wasn't deep into it at that time. We're good. Mr.
All right,
Mann-
sorry about that.
We're good. Mr. Mann identified it as a monetary definition. And the only thing that I understood a lot to be was a lot of land. So that's clarification that was given by our experts.
Well, why? You buy the same stock at different times, each buyer.
I appreciate the staff. I appreciate the learning. It's very appreciative for me when there's things I don't understand. So, I appreciate what staff has provided.
And I thought we were just hoping to get. February 9th. November 9th, sorry. If you have any questions.
So my question was, our former council member had attended these things several times and expressed the pleasure and excitement of seeing him in the working of Joy. And I want to see that. This is probably the last bond issue I'm ever going to be involved in from this end. I appreciate Joy very, very much, and I would like to be here to see her do her 10 minutes of magic, just like previous council members have. So what time do I need to be here November 9th? Uh-huh.
It doesn't, it's really all. It's all through.
So the excitement of a former council member was all on the same format of the electronic process of what's happening
First
now.
time we've done 2 sales
Uh-huh.
since I've been. First 3. Oh, right, and the first one were not through. Yeah, they were electronic and they come in electronic. And it's at 10 o'clock. You can be here, a little bit early.
Okay.
Is Joy coming? She will be here. Okay. So she'll be here and we'll log in to the program and have it on the screen and you sit and watch so be before, yeah. And because they start coming in right before 10.
Okay.
They'll come in and you can see that and yeah, and that's so, and it's it's probably less exciting for me to talk about it because I don't find it that exciting. But other people have there, I don't know. So absolutely, anybody can come. We'll be in here anyway. So happy to have folks here. And then Joy will look, she'll kind of give us an idea of what she thinks. Then she'll take it back by noon.
or so, she'll have the final documents. She and Shannon will have the final documents ready to go. And then we'll have them here. So that's Tuesday, November 9th. I would come about 10 to 10. We'll be in here. All right.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I look forward to having a little bit of time with Joy and watching her do her magic. Thank you. That's what I hear.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Item number 10 is appointment of council liaison to Pension Board of Trustees.
Memo group has been liaison to the pension. So you really don't, commission or board. So that-
You want me to say it or you want to say it?
Do you want to ask or do we just?
Well,
Yeah.
Councilmember Carl, it seems logical that you would take that position since you've already been to some of the meetings and that would give us some continuity. If you're comfortable doing that, then Councilmember Waldman and I would like to propose that you are that liaison.
Wonderful.
Done.
Get the same pay.
Nothing of nothing is nothing. Okay. Next item, please.
Item number 11 is hearing from citizens, part 2.
Is there anyone that would like to speak? Raise your hand. It looks like no one is interested in sharing their personal stories tonight or questions. So we'll move on to item number 12, please.
Item number 12, review and approval of minutes.
I saw nothing that needed to be changed either.
Could I hear a motion?
Madam Mayor Pro Tem, I move that we approve the minutes of the Olivet City Council regular meeting of October 12th, 2021 as written.
Second,
Call for the vote, please.
Councilmember Carl,
yes.
Councilmember Waldman.
Yes.
Chairman Weil,
Yes.
motion passed.
Before we go to the attorney's report, I realized I forgot to say something in the update. We just got it today. So a couple things. I did let the council know, I forgot to put it in my report though for citizens. We were successful with
Yeah.
the municipal parks grant for park improvements at Villa Park. They're at about $370,000. And so that's great. The other thing, we had our first, we finished schematic and design development for the parks. And Navigate provided did another budget review, cost estimate for us. And we look to be targeting we're moving right on target for our parks. So that was very good news. Because we had been tracking over.
And that's based upon what did we just call that the other week? Value engineering?
Nope. No,
no.
this is actually just based on some of the changes about not retrofitting the existing bathrooms assisted. And I think just some of the other, as we got further into the engineering of the site and the land moving and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Item number 13, city attorney's report.
I have no public report, but at the last meeting, we didn't have a closed session. This meeting, you're not so lucky. I'd like to talk to you about a couple of different things, and that would be a closure under 610-021.1 and 2, attorney-client communications, and the sale or lease of real estate.
So moved.
Second.
Call for the vote.
Councilmember Carl,
Yes.
Councilmember Waldman.
Yes.
Chairman Weil,
Yes.
motion passed.
For those of you that have been watching, thank you for attending, and we're going to go into closed